relearned Ruhan's name like 2 or 4 sessions in, I should say.
Oh.
To be fair, he had an actual name prior to it, and then he got a different one.
Yeah. What was his name to begin with?
Ritzy.
Ritzy, that was it.
Thank you for taking the ball on that one.
The Nevros term for outcast or outsider, which is what he was to them.
Okay, what am I looking for?
Oh.
I'm looking for how to spell that particular word.
Okay, so we're going for Far Eye. So let's go. Let's start the last one first. This one is pretty cut and dry. You pick the card that you want, and that's it. You guys now have the Ace of Wands. What does it do? Who knows? You could infer something magic.
Watch as it does absolutely nothing, they're just fucking with us.
It does something.
The assassins, what does it do? I don't know, find out. You're terrible gift givers.
We're assassins, not gift givers. We give the gift of death, and that's it.
The sweet release of death, you mean?
The last gift you will ever receive.
Add an item card.
Right. I just realized I have
That's
nothing
right.
to write on.
Dust off the cobwebs.
Ah.
Where is it?
Okay, I have a book there. That'll do.
Ace of Wands.
Oh, a wad of paper. That will do it nicely.
In journals, all players. So you all know that you have the Ace of Wands. It is a question of who's holding, but we'll get to that momentarily after the other stuff. Let's see. In regards, now working backwards. Find my notes. There it is. In regards to this slide, your guys' diplomatic security, Jesse, with aid of a gunslinger, friend of your guys' commander, or Commander Lena, as well as some royal guards, which is a pretty big thing. If the royal guards are they're doing anything actively in the colonies, that means there's something up. If not, then they try to have the colonies have not independent, that's crazy talk, but autonomy. They're really here for overseeing things as opposed to having an active hand in shaping things.
All the freedom in the world under boot heel.
Yes. Your cultist friend here was neutralized, although he did die and disappear into a cloud of, well, smoke and inky smoke, or smoky ink, however you want to call it. Jessie herself would put 50-50 on whether or not he's actually dead to rights or not. That being said, he did leave in his possessions, not on him when he died, but in his belongings after they raided the place, he did have something of interest. A flask of a similar smoky, ever-swirling black ink. You guys are free to keep it. You guys can turn it over to whoever. You could try destroying it.
I don't know about everyone. That feels like something to give the quarter.
You could do that. You can give it to Cork.
I mean, it's a shtick, yeah.
So, yeah. I would take the silence as agreement.
Yeah.
Just for the sole purpose of keeping things moving. You guys give the ink to Cork, and whatever that is, only time will tell. It is a conduit to power. Whether or not the power is safe, that's a different story. And now on to the matters of the bards. So you got unknown magic item from the assassins. You got a flask of ink from a different assassin, I guess. Hostile assassin versus ally assassin, if you want to call it that. So the matters of the bards, since Fred picked the right option, our inspiring tale option, each of these provides a boon in the sense of an item. Because obviously the bards aren't going to just ditch town and follow you everywhere. Although I guess that would be a pretty bard thing to do. No,
Huge trumpet boy meme.
Everyone's dying and you only know how to play the trumpet. Toot toot. No. For helping Shay, she gives you an item from when she was younger, which is hard to say when younger. She is human, and she isn't that old. Like, she's probably the same age as, like, Varric and Abigail, and Varric's, like, 21. So, to say when she was younger is a bit of a... I mean, anything from a rock skip to, like, a baby? I don't know. She gives you something called... I didn't make a card for it. Damn it! I'll make it later. It's referred to simply as the Good Berry Laurel. So, like a laurel wreath. Or an olive laurel wreath, like you would see Romans have and stuff like that. Similar to that, the branch of it is silvery, as opposed to like an olive wooden color. It can cast, unsurprisingly, it's called the Good Berry Laurel. It unsurprisingly can cast the Good Berry spell, or you could take all the berries it produces, which I believe is 10 by default. The Good Berry spell makes 10, which expire after 24 hours after casting. You can crush the berries to produce a poultice. Or, you guys can try doing something else with it. I'm open. It's definitely an item which I have only paid shallow thought to. So, yeah. And no, it doesn't take attunement. There are plenty of items that do that already. This one doesn't take attunement. So, I'll start making that card for you right now. But while I'm making the card, you guys should determine who's holding the Ace of Wands, because that's very important, and who gets this laurel, this Good Berry Laurel.
Well,
Definitely
logically,
sounds-
it would be
and then everyone talks
three
about
of you, I think.
Yeah.
One of the OG crew characters.
Yeah, I'm not
Seniority.
holding anything.
I feel like perhaps Rose, for the reason that if we all go down, Rose is the likely last one to be up.
This is true.
Yeah, that's
But she doesn't like the weird naturey shit.
I think they're talking about the card.
Oh, the
Ace of
card?
Wands.
Oh, Ace of Wands.
Oh,
Okay,
I was talking
yeah,
about the Laurel.
Oh,
I was gonna say
that-
there's nothing naturey about the card.
yeah, no, the card seems fucking weird. I don't disagree with that, and I can hold on to it if you want. But she wouldn't accept
Have
the
more
D&D.
stuff to keep track of, Garth.
Yay!
Take it to just take it to Darren to get it identified, then we'll know what it does. Easy.
No, you know it's not gonna be that easy. We're just gonna get some vague shit of just like, oh, it's weird. Amongst other.
Yeah, I didn't say
good
Legend
situation.
Lore. Oh wait, we could get Legend Lord. What am I talking about?
You crazy. Okay, so Rose has the reef then,
No, the ace.
the ace.
Yeah,
for the
try
same
not to
reasons, I would say
confuse the two, because one of them can make magic berries, the other one can literally save your fucking life.
Hey,
I mean, not
if
to
you
say
want-
Good Berry can't save your life too, but one of them certainly has a faster avenue to it.
Activation time? Okay.
It's like the difference between a rolled up newspaper and a bazooka.
I hate when it does that.
Dude, Kirsty, you crit like a fucking truck. Well, I mean, you anti-crit 11 ones.
What?
I'm looking at the ye old list of crits.
Oh, right, okay.
I'm going to change that.
Huh. So I forgot I did not have my phone with me. And it's just disconnected.
Smooth.
Oh, yeah, I've got a lot of that. So that's quite sad.
So, Thea, do you have any healing spells?
Me? Yeah, I've got a few.
Okay, so I would say, once again, pragmatically, I mean, at least till the new people come in, I would also say Rose, because that way everyone has healing capability.
Do rosaries heal?
Yeah, they heal 1 HP. One whole HP.
It's enough to make you not unconscious.
Yeah, but if you're unconscious, you can't really use it, can you?
No, but somebody else can use it.
You shove it in their mouth.
Mama bird him, you know.
Hold action to use a good berry if you're about to drop.
As you're falling, you just let it go into your mouth.
Yeah, you chuck it, and like you chuck it as the hit comes.
Just stick one in your mouth and have yourself practice crushing it as you go unconscious.
Oh, it's like the suicide capsules that Nazis would have. Or
Yeah, yeah.
I should say.
See, no.
But the other way
That's
around.
small bird. What you do is put a glyph of warding inside of Amber and put it on your back, and then one on your chest that has cure wounds in it. So when you fall, you break one of them and activate it.
Nice.
You'd feel really stupid if you just trip, dude.
Hey, at least you wouldn't take any damage from it.
Alright, I put the good berry laurel in the equipment section.
Just pragmatically thinking, that sounds the most reasonable.
Actually, let's move to the same map. Alrighty. Let's see. Over the course of we'll talk about some downtime stuff in a moment. But yeah. Actually, no, let's start with that. Let's start with what I did over summer vacation, teacher. I went to the beach. I killed a scoring kid. No, not actually.
The fuck's a
Maybe
score
later,
kid?
kid. Maybe later, kid. But yeah, we'll talk about what you guys wanted to do with your downtime. Because because no one has told me thus far that they're trying to keep their downtime activity secret, I'm assuming that the rest of the group is privy to such. So, yeah. I'll start with the definitely more blunter one. Let's see, just so I get the wording right here. Yep. Ruhan is living a high-risk lifestyle, which involves not simultaneous. Well, maybe simultaneously. I don't know. It does involve going to temples, trying to find some solace and faith, perhaps, or at least in the quiet. But it also involves drinking heavily. So, Ruhan is, I would say, at least slightly just predisposed during the downtime. So if you guys interact with him, and do something, as time goes on, as the downtime goes on, Ruhan's left eye does begin not morphing, but it does change, becoming more more akin to what Jesse's eyes look like, which is to say, Jessie looks blind. She's not actually blind, but she looks blind. Similar deal for Ruhan. His left eye is
Calloused?
enhanced. Calloused. So he now has an eye patch. Or maybe he doesn't, I don't know. I suppose it depends on if you want people to see that you're. I guess it'd be obvious, wouldn't it, if you were blind in one eye, if you wear an eye patch.
Mhm.
I mean, yeah, if you wear an eye patch or you don't, it's kind of gonna be obvious that, like, hey, his eye's messed up.
I mean, we could always
Yeah.
just use it as an excuse to start a pirate campaign.
I mean,
That was a terrible joke. I'll see myself out.
I mean, if you want to go back in the water, sure.
ha ha
That's
ha.
not the
I think
reason
I-
you wore an eye patch on the ship, but go on.
Yeah, that's more or less the long and short of it I received from O. And I am speaking for him because he's muted. So yeah, Ruhan. What do you do in his downtime? Be depressed.
Wasted
Mood.
away. As most people do.
As most people do.
Thank you.
All right, Garth said BRB. Well, that was not going to excuse him from talking about his downtime activity, so I will do it for him in his stead. Let's see. Garth did bring up to me trying to train with Ruhan, but given that Ruhan is, he took a big
Proven.
espresso of depresso, that's not an option. So, in the meantime, what was Rose doing? She was trying to look into both her patron as well as the Shard of Ends, going so far as to inquire with Jesse, who is, again, a spook of supposed knowledge, going so far as to inquire with Jesse as to anyone that can help not identify it, technically is identify the Shard of Ends, a Shard of Ends, not the Shard of Ends, but someone that might be able to tell more details about it. Jesse directed Rose to a noble out in the noble's quarters, a rhymnologist by the name of Franco Calcis. Unfortunately, Franco cannot really identify what it is or where it's from. He can tell it's not remnant. It's not a remnant artifact. So, rhymnology, this quack science, this pseudoscience that is often scoffed at by any academic, not any, but most academics, does have some validity to it. Although the people that hold themselves to the valid pieces of evidence as opposed to using rhymnology as a scapegoat are few and far between. Rhymnology is the study of ruins, old-time ruins. Not just ruins in general, that's archaeology. A very specific type of ruins. A precursor civilization. Don't get me wrong, there's plenty of other, earlier civilizations than provincial ones. There's giant, societies and civilizations and ruins, which are always interesting. The way back, elves almost, took a page out of the British Empire and tried to colonize a lot of different places. They failed on at least 50%, if not more, of those regards, but oh well. But yeah, there are other civilizations, but rhymnology is specifically a certain civilization, which is such a mystery, which is sort of why rhymnology is viewed as a quack science or a quack academia. Because, academia. Because, there's just simply very little evidence, and most academics and scholars see the few pieces of evidence as exceptions to, another civilization. Rhymnologists don't think that. They do have some connecting lines, so to speak. Anyway, so that's Franco Calcis. He's a rhymnologist, and a valid one at that. He's not a quack. He's not crazy. Or maybe he is crazy, and he's just really good at hiding. I don't know. I mean, I know, but you guys don't know.
I mean, when you're in noble power and you have the money to pay off people that call you crazy,
Yeah. Franco Calcis. Yeah, still got that in memory. Franco Calcis is from... He's old. Well, in-game he's old. Meta-game he's also... He was in the first iteration of the setting. But yeah. Franco Calcis does inform Rose that he can't really identify what it is, but whatever it is, it's not a remnant artifact. Let's see. Other thing. Jesse did, over the course of downtime, get another shard of N sent over to Expeditionary R&D here. So that is something of note. Expeditionary R&D has sort of 2.5 shard of Ns to study. No one has bothered putting them together because everyone's afraid that it will cause some sort of magical nuke, or I don't know, a voidic black hole, or something like that. Yeah, no one wants them. Yeah, they don't want to fucking do that. If you guys want to go out to an island somewhere and put them together, start talking to Jesse about it. But for the time being, the Expeditionary R&D people that are in the know about it, which is to say not everyone, a more select number of them, an upper echelon, they don't want to fucking put the two shard of ends together and make a bigger shard of ends or bring the end. But yeah. Other information. Well, Garth, I'll leave that to you. What other information did I tell you? Because we did it vocally, and I don't believe I recorded it. I was just trusting that you were recording it.
I believe I scribbled down notes. Just have to find it. When was that? That was
probably last week.
No, last week was the one-on-one thing.
Well, yeah, I think that's when we talked about it. While you're looking for that, I'll go for your other thing. Also, Rose was looking into her patron, or... Well, yeah, I guess he's just directly your patron, although your powers are not necessarily from him. He's from his coalition, I guess. She's looking into a hunter who just simply goes by Volter of the Heartlands. And you guys have seen, well, with the exception of Reyes and Marin, you guys have seen Volter. He's as rangery looking as rangers come, except, most rangers tend to die in the field. It seems that he has found some sort of secret to immortality or sort of some other power that gives him immortality, or at least some demigodly capability. But he is only but a demigod, considering how Ruhan was able to fling him off earlier, which is pretty impressive. And I believe Volter's response was something along the lines of, "Ooh, tough one." And then he just went right back at Ruhan. But yeah, Ruhan then had the cursed item detached from him at the cost of negating his shield arm and messing with his eye, and future results to be seen, if any. Yeah, Rose looked into Volter. I believe you were talking to Abigail about Volter.
Yeah, she seemed she knew about him, so she seems like the best option.
Yeah.
For at least trying to find someone that might know more.
Yeah. I can imagine you guys are having this talk at, your guys' new house, right here, in between Residential and Market District and near City Hall. Yeah, Abigail can confirm to you that Volter is a Silverblood Hunter, and the Silverblood Hunters are a old institution from Silfwall. In fact, they're probably a predominant reason of how it managed to take its name of Silfwall. Yeah, Abigail reveals the details of the Silverbloods, which is not common knowledge. Most people in Silfwall don't know where the Silverbloods get their power. At all. They just know that the Silverbloods have power.
They're just like, hey, cool, you're killing the fairies, that's good enough for us.
Yeah, and Abigail confirms that. Yeah, they 100% are rooted in killing fairies. Why? Because they gain their power from a bastardized blood, or serum, I suppose, better way of putting it. Bastardized serum of a fairy. It is a fairy that hates other fairies, and this fairy is referred to as the Silverblood Hunter. What better way to fight fairies than the powers of a fairy? And this fairy seems to have it out for the rest of his annoying kind. So that's where the Silverbloods get their power from. And it is through the efforts of the Silverblood, the devotion and sacrifice of the Silverbloods, that Silphwall managed to become Silphwall. That's why it's called Silphwall. Of course, these days the Silverbloods are not a dying order, but they definitely are a dwindling one. Mostly just because they're not needed anymore. Don't get me wrong, they hunt other things other than fairies. They hunt, well, basically any type of outer creature. You know, voided beings. They've hunted them. Undead powers. They've hunted them. You know, you name it. They are hunters, both for duty and for glory, which is how you could enter their fortress out in northern Silphwall, is if you prove that you're a worthy hunter. But that's back in the mainland. You guys aren't you guys are colony side, unfortunately. So Abigail reveals to you that Walter is a Silverblood hunter. She doesn't think he's the Silverblood hunter, because if so, then your guys' nymph friend would probably have gotten annihilated.
Looks over to Losha and the fact that she's alive.
Yeah. But Silverbloods hunters are not a diverse stock, really, but they are definitely the sort of people to, sacrifice personal morals or ethics to achieve a greater good. If that is comforting or discerning or disconcerting for you, that's up to you. What's because their greater good is not necessarily good. It is just what they determine to be a greater good, which is the annihilation of every fairy in existence, which is basically impossible, if she's talking about it. But just because something's impossible doesn't stop fairies from trying it.
Takes note of fairy bias when saying this.
Summer will always Summer will always rival winter. Winter will always rival summer. Both sides would rather be the sole predominant power in the Feywilds, but that will never happen, because if that happens, then that means the world is probably going to hit Ragnarok soon.
Are they recruiting, or?
I mean, apparently
they are.
Remember how I was asking him if we're gonna do a big heist? We're recruited now to the Feyworld.
Well, the thing is, neither court fights each other, not actively, because if one court declares active warfare upon the other court, then that means the Cold War has just ended and it's now a hot war.
They're using the Russian American thing, right? They back up other people to have wars for them.
Yeah, and that's exactly how they work here. That's why you have
the
very like that. The thing is, up until about 42?
Proxies.
Yeah, 42, I believe, years ago. Getting to the Feywilds is a lot harder. But 42 years ago, the world either simultaneously came a little bit closer, and the veil between them became a little bit lighter. So now fairies have a lot easier of a time coming to and fro from the mortal realm. But yeah, God damn it, fucking making memes as we're going. But yeah, the Silverbloods do have the Spartan problem of population control, which is just not population control. I shouldn't say that. Reproduction. In the sense of it is a child upbringing based faction. So I wanted to use the term child soldier, but that's exactly what it is. So joining the Silverbloods as a teenager or an adult is a much different ask and task than joining it.
Being born into it, effectively.
Not born into it. People give their children as tribute to the Silverbloods.
So those witchers.
To a degree, yeah.
Okay.
Although they just had a lot, whereas the Witchers have to conscript people. I guess we can also use the Grey Wardens from Dragon Age for the same logics. People back in the day, at least, willingly gave children to the Silverbloods because, first off, it's a noble cause. It's also a better place than a lot of other places. Like the Silverbloods were pretty popular, had the funding and prestige to back it and stuff like that. So giving it to the Silverbloods, was giving them a better life. Of course, Silverblood training back then and still to this day isn't exactly a peaceful ordeal. So there is always the chance that
Would
they
the
don't make
families
it. But
stay in contact, or would they just be like, "Here, take my son, goodbye"?
nah, cut connections.
Hmm.
So yeah, people have joined the Silver Bloods as not a baby, but it is one in which you have to get your. Oh my god.
There you go, fire sword.
There you go. Yeah. Joining the Silver Bloods is definitely a process, or you have to have credential, quote unquote. You have to have accreditation of being a good hunter in order to join the Silver Bloods thereafter. Abigail will tell all of you, more specifically you, Rose, that the Silver Blood Order is, it has its name for a reason, Silver Blood. Not just because there's a Silver Blood hunter, but because the more powerful a hunter you are, the more of the old blood, the original blood, the blood serum, is in you, or moreover, it's more potent, more concentrated. So that is like a promotion process, I guess you'd call it. Like the higher rank you are in the Silver Blood Order, the more serum will be introduced into your system, and thus you become more powerful at some cost of your, moral being. Because obviously you're not really meant to have some bastardized Fey blood in you as a mortal. But that's what they do.
Is there a point where like you get too much and you
Amen.
like die or become a fairy?
Yeah,
No.
Okay.
If it was that easy to become a fairy, Abigail would remark that Connor's livelihood would probably be in utter ruin. No. But there is like not a sanity cost to it, but it's something of like a conflicted biological nature clause to it. It doesn't change you into being a fairy, but it does begin rejecting your mortal side. So it is not like a guaranteed lethal process, just a high mortality rate process eventually. But that's fine by the Silver Blood Hunters, because most of them don't anticipate hitting old age and dying in their beds. They anticipate being a silver-blooded gusher in some monster's mouth.
Accurate. Sounds accurate to most monster hunters.
Joke on them, though. The silver blood is poisonous to most creatures. So
Haha, the final
jokes
hoorah
on them.
of the ship.
At least in higher concentrations, at least. Obviously, just a random low-level silver blood won't poison the thing that kills and eats them. I'll probably give them some. Probably not want to eat them after the first bite. But yeah, if you kill like an old silver blood, like old blood hunter, and it gets like eaten or something, they might kill the thing along with it, which is 100% acceptable.
So yeah, it sounds like a lot of their like traditions come from. Oh, fuck, what's it called? Oh my god, I forgot the fucking Native American kind of people that are in this group or the game.
Evros?
Yes. How did I forget that word? It's been
Native
20 years.
American?
Yeah, they're more Celtic.
Yeah. I remember,
That's what you equate them to?
It is the first thing. Shut up. I just ripped off a piece of my wall. Oh,
I mean, that is fair. Like, the provinces were a bunch of Nevros tribes originally, and so far is one of the oldest. Well, it is the oldest outside the capital. It is the oldest province, so you're not too far off the mark. Like, there's definitely some,
influence.
I want to say adaptation, but yeah, influence into the process. So yeah, that's what's up with which Abigail would know of Volter, which is he's a Silverblood hunter, and the Silverblood hunters are a pyrrhically prestigious group back in the old world. She does say not to just spread around that information, because then they might get pissed. And yes, they are the grudge-holding, retribution-seeking type. Unsurprisingly.
Considering
So
I'm pretty sure
Volter is...
Yeah, considering Volter's probably constantly watching me, I don't think I'm going to.
Yeah, Volter, she would say, is... Since he is just a Silverblood hunter, there are other Silverblood hunters. Not in the sense of, like, around right now, but, like, in, like, a demigodly sense. That hunt demigodly things with demigodly means, stuff like that.
I feel like I can continue the joke.
Like a fairy tale, except not the one you guys just managed to live through. More over in like a morbid fairy tale.
So Brothers Grimm. Gotcha.
Watch a movie again. Did you manage to find the information about the Shard of Ends I told you? If not, I can start spinning something right now.
I couldn't find it. I can't believe it, but I don't think I actually wrote it down, which is stupid. But I feel, from what I remember, it was that the Shard of Ends, from pretty much every aspect, was just like, it's so unique in its weirdness that not a lot of people could pin down anything. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, it looks like something that would be fitting for the Void, but according to other people that looked into it, it feels like divine, which is weird. Don't get me wrong, there is a god that faces against the Void, you know, the Myriad and Matrale, that's sort of their bit as the Watchers of Beyond. But this doesn't have their signature either. So it's a bit weird. Best estimates would be some sort of saint. An obscure one might be related to it. You did ask if there is something in the Shard of Ends, like some consciousness in there. To which no one could tell you. And if you ever asked Varric about it, he wouldn't say anything. Since he died, and well, I say died, was more of a put into the Shard of Ends. By
borrowed.
death.
His soul was borrowed.
Yeah, like Varric doesn't. He's pretty tight-lipped about the Shard of Ends in general, despite probably being the one that has most first-hand account and experience with it.
Does it seem like he's withholding information and he just doesn't want to talk about it, or like he just doesn't know?
Roll insight.
Cool. Here's that +1 insight. Where?
See, you say that, but I feel like 30% of the time you roll well, anyways.
Nah.
Yeah, you can't tell. If he does know something about it, he's trying to hide or run away from it. Or it might just be a matter of Varric knows his limits and just simply doesn't know anything about it. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's about the long and short of the Shard of Ends. It is just simply in a league of its own. Independent from... It is the exception to multiple rules, I'll put it like that.
Okay.
Yeah. You got visited by Volter. You guys had a little bit of a chit-chat. Did you have any other questions for him?
None that I could particularly think of, and that stuff I actually did write down, so that's very good. Yeah, there we go.
Fair enough.
No.
Walter
nothing.
did lay out the terms of your guys' arrangement. I think you had not several, but at least a few questions inquiring as to why he's doing it, what he stands to gain from it, or him and his faction, stuff like that. And, you know, his answer seems to align with what Abio says. He's basically just here to kill Scorncan under any means. And you are but an arrow amongst several to take a shot at that task. So, yeah. Thea. Let's see. Well, first off, you apparently want to buy poison resistant leather armor. Let me start running some numbers.
Why so specific?
I don't know. That's a good question, but I appreciate the initiative on it.
It's like maybe she pissed off some assassins or something. Who knows?
That's
What do we
crazy.
think, right?
It's crazy. That's wild. It's crazy.